I don't know if Spotify and Apple Music and all that is down or if it's just me, but my music ain't playing today, y'all. So we're going to operate in silence, but that's okay. That is okay. We still going to, by any means, keep it going and keep it moving. I hope all is well, y'all. Happy Monday, brand new week. I hope that your week is off to a great start. I'm excited about our topic today. Thank you to everyone who voted. This is the last of the poll that we put out. I want to say, when did we put that poll out? Maybe it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you to everyone that voted. I truly appreciate you guys. It's the last of it, and we'll do a new poll. We'll see if we'll do next week. I'm not sure. We may do a live next week. We may not. But if we do, because it's the holiday next week, if we do, I will post a new poll. If not, we'll just wait and we'll do a poll for that first week of December. But I'm glad and excited to talk about tonight's topic, which is overcoming imposter syndrome. We'll talk about exactly what it is, if it's a term that you've never heard before. Surprisingly, a lot of people have not heard of it. It's something that is talked about a little bit more often now than I would say a couple of years ago. But I'm excited to talk through it and discuss it. And let me see here. What do I have for tonight? Tonight, you may want to grab a journal because I am going to pose a lot of questions that you may want to ask yourself regarding imposter syndrome. So if this is something that you're heavily navigating right now and looking to overcome, I suggest that you grab a journal and pen for some of these questions that you can actually sit and journal on and think through and get some actual reflection and perspective on. So I really do hope that this is helpful. So I just want to go through five steps to overcoming imposter syndrome, and then I'll leave you with 7 affirmations at the end. So yes, I'm excited about tonight. Hello, Janaya. Anthony, I'm not quite sure what that has to do with our topic. And hello, Shogun. Welcome in, everyone. TTT Bot Gaming. Welcome in. Hi, Lil B. Doom Guy. Hello. Welcome in, everyone. I hope all is well. So we'll go ahead and jump into the topic. Again, the topic is overcoming imposter syndrome. So what is it, right? What is it before we even dive into anything else? Imposter syndrome is a psychological experience involving persistent self-doubt, fear of being found out as a fraud, difficulty internalizing accomplishments, and believing success is due to luck, timing, or external factors. Hi, Shaphonia, welcome in. Hello, Kit, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining. So that's what imposter syndrome is. Just to kind of give you a little bit more info here. Imposter syndrome is a psychological experience in which people doubt their abilities and fear being exposed as a fraud despite clear evidence of competence. It often shows up in high-achieving individuals and can be influenced by perfectionism, anxiety, past criticism, and systemic pressures. Okay, so that's really the definition of what imposter syndrome really is. Now, if this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I'm a certified meditation coach and mindfulness coach. On this channel, we talk about everything when it comes to mindfulness, meditation, practical coping skills, and just wellness in general. We go live every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time to talk through these topics that are voted on a weekly basis. So that is... Oh, thank you. It looks like my sister is in here moderating because I need it. I appreciate you. Kiki. Okay, I learn something new. Absolutely. So tonight we're talking about imposter syndrome. Okay, I know that doesn't apply to what we're talking about, but thank you. All right, so When it comes to imposter syndrome, like I said, we're going to go through 5 different ways to overcome it. So step number 1 is name the story that's showing up. Okay? Name the story that is showing up, right? What is the story that you're actually telling yourself when it comes to the imposter syndrome? Okay. Taking time to notice it, taking time to journal it if that helps. But really understanding what that story or that narrative is, so that way you can go through the rest of the steps to try to overcome it. So is this narrative, I'm not ready, right? They'll find out I don't belong here. Everyone else is better than me. I just got lucky. I'm just here out of luck, right? I have to prove myself to everyone to stay, I have to prove myself in every situation in this environment to stay, right? So thinking about exactly when it comes to imposter syndrome, when it comes up, and maybe a certain part or piece of your life. So it may be within your profession, it may be in relationships, romantic relationships, maybe in friendships. It may show up in just your day-to-day habits, right? It may show up when it comes to you going to school, or you going into a new space, or you learning a new activity, right? So it can show up in all different types of ways. I am an emerging therapist. So I'm currently in my internship, but I'm already a certified meditation and mindfulness coach. So just if you're wondering why I'm able to talk about this, that's why. But yes, I am an emerging one. So when it comes to imposter syndrome, that's the first step that you want to do, that you want to take. You want to understand what the story is and where it's showing up for you. I have a list here. Let me make sure that I'm not missing any other areas, just in case you're kind of wondering, like, I think I'm experiencing this, but I'm not quite sure. So some of the areas that you may be experiencing imposter syndrome may be starting a new job, transitioning out of like an individual contributor role into a leadership role, being promoted quickly, being the only one in the room. So that can be like a racial barrier, or like a gender barrier. Like if you're the only woman in a room, the only man in a room, the only Black person in a room, only Hispanic in a room, however that shows up for you. Imposter syndrome can definitely show up in those spaces, especially in industries that you may not see yourself in. So like for me, I had imposter syndrome symptoms that popped up for me a lot when I was in tech. So it can show up based off industry when it comes to profession. First time speaking in public, leading a meeting, sharing ideas in a group, receiving praise or recognition, winning an award, starting a business or a new project, moving into a new industry, like I mentioned, being able to lead or mentor, high pressure moments like interviews, reviews, or big presentations, making a mistake or receiving feedback, sitting with highly accomplished people, or people that are just, more successful than you are. Networking events and conferences. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Navigating stereotypes, returning after a break or a leave or an illness, getting unexpected opportunities, being underestimated, switching careers, taking on something bigger than you've done before. Thank you, my life tree. I appreciate you. Hi, Gary. Okay, so those are additional areas or spaces that you may see imposter syndrome show up. So we already talked about number 1, name the story that is showing up for you, right? What is the narrative that you're telling yourself? Then number 2, understand the origin of the story, okay? Who taught me to believe this? This is one of the first questions that you can write down, okay? Okay, Kiki, definitely take notes. I'll try to go slow so that way if you miss anything, you'll be able to catch it. Understand the origin of the story. Who taught me to believe this story? Okay, who taught me who taught me to believe this story? Okay, whose expectations am I carrying? right? Because many times when it comes to imposter syndrome, it's because we put this huge expectation on ourselves that may not be coming from ourselves. It may be coming from external factors. It may be coming from past situations. So understanding like whose expectations am I carrying? Where are those expectations coming from? All right. The next question would be, is this my truth or someone else's fear? Okay. Is this my truth or someone else's fear? Right. Sometimes when we tell people that we're going to do something new, they may project their own fears onto you to where now you're starting to question your abilities. So thinking about, is this truth? Is this a truth or my truth, or is this someone's fear that was projected onto me? Okay. And then also, when understanding the origin story, understanding what emotions or things that are attached to that story. So, are you experiencing these thoughts because of past rejections, past embarrassments or failures? Is it past judgments or criticisms that you may have received? Or like I said, being the only person in the room, and then it just kind of seems like that room is just shrinking in on you because of the fact that you're the only, the only person of you that is there. You're the only Black person. You're the only woman. You're the only this. You're the only that, right? And that picture in that room automatically gives you the feeling that you shouldn't be there, right? So really take the time to understand not just what is showing up, what you're telling yourself, but also where that's coming from. Okay. I hope this is resonating with anybody. Please drop a heart in the comments if this is actually something that you are dealing with. Any color you like, drop a heart in the comments. But yeah, so this is number 2. Understand the origin story. And then number 1 was name the story that's showing up. Number 3, start with showing yourself self-compassion. All right. So start with showing yourself self-compassion. Thank you, Kiki. Recognize when you have a need, right? So based off of this, you naming the story, you understanding the origin of the story, based off of that, what do you need, right? What do you need to give yourself in that moment? Is it you just need to give yourself compassion? Is it that you need to just take the time to process what you've learned about yourself? It could be so many different things that you could need, but recognize when you have a need, when you have these things coming up for you. Release any comparisons, right? So release any comparisons that may be attached to the origin story, okay? Hi, Shonda. Thank you, Shaphonia. So recognize when you have some form of comparison that's attached to it. Many times when imposter syndrome shows up, it's because we're comparing ourselves to other people, and that is formulating this new expectation of who we need to be, right? He definitely is. Thank you, the Templar. That's not what we're necessarily talking about, but yes, definitely Jesus Christ is King. Okay. And we're good. We got it. We get it. Okay. So when it comes to self-comparison or comparison in self-compassion. So letting go of the comparison and accepting compliments, accepting the spaces, the pieces of yourself that are strengths in that space, right? Many times the people who are struggling with imposter syndrome, when they do get a compliment, they struggle to accept it. They dismiss it, or they're like, oh, well, this is just what I do, or whatever, right? They just kind of toss it to the side. Take time to embrace those compliments and to release the comparisons that you may have. A lot of times, many times, when you start tracing back your imposter syndrome and the story and the origin story and where it's coming from, many times it's coming from some form of comparison. So ensuring to release comparison and accept compliments, and then also celebrate small wins. When it comes to imposter syndrome, many times it's because we don't see ourselves being successful in whatever space for whatever reason. So anytime that you have a small win in that space, it makes all the difference in celebrating even that small win. That celebrating those small wins brings confidence and builds confidence for you to be able to know and understand that you're where you're supposed to be. Okay. Hi, Liam. Hi, Emily. You have a choice to be embarrassed, so you have to choose to be embarrassed or not. I mean, yeah, embarrassment is a huge aspect to imposter syndrome, because many times when it comes to embarrassment, it's attached to being in a new space or trying a new thing. And that's typically when imposter syndrome will show up. And I think that that's something that embarrassment is a huge thing, especially with the rise of like social anxiety and the rise of, just people not being able to be in social spaces as easily as they used to be. So embarrassment is a big reason as to why people have self-esteem issues. And yeah, embarrassment doesn't feel good. It sometimes can be painful and hurtful, but it's not the end of the world, even though in that moment it may feel like it is. Uh, well, have sis join in. I hope this is helpful to y'all. Okay, so that was number 3. Show yourself self-compassion. Oh yes, so recognize what needs you have, release comparison, celebrate small wins, and then lastly, ask for support when needed. A lot of times, imposter syndrome is just a silent struggle. It's something that you struggle with internally, and you're afraid or may have fear in sharing your sentiments with others, to the point where it's like an internal suffering or torment a lot of the times. So sharing with others that you are struggling and that you need support, and even just a confidence boost. Maybe it's someone that you can trust, that you can get some form of positive criticism or feedback that can help you along the way. So in the effort of having self-compassion, you can always lean on someone that you trust for support in those moments, and not be afraid to speak up for that help. Okay. So that was number 3. Show yourself self-compassion. Number 4, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Just a second. Number 1 was name the story that is showing up. Number 2, understand the origin of the story. Number 3, show yourself self-compassion. Number 4, challenge and change the story's narrative. Okay? Challenge and change the story's narrative. Understand the difference between fact and truth. We've talked about this before, I feel like. But understanding the difference between fact and truth. Many times imposter syndrome is based on a belief or a core belief that is either a fact or a truth. That's either, well, maybe more your truth. But sometimes we get them confused to the point where we act solely on a truth versus facts. So the difference between a fact and a truth is that a fact is what it is. It's quantitative, it's qualitative, it's something that has actually evidence to show that this is actually a fact. Your truth is what I feel or what I perceive about the fact, okay? Both are very valid, but both can give you different outcomes, right? So when you have facts, it gives you clear cut. Okay, I started a new job. This new job is, a step up from my last job. There are a lot of job duties that I've done before, but there are a few job duties in this job that I haven't done before, right? Those are all facts. A truth may be, this is a new job and I don't feel adequate for this job, right? So your truth is a perception or your feelings regarding the facts, and the facts are just the facts, right? Facts are objective, truth is personal. Facts are live in the present. Truth often comes from the past, your past fears, your past rejections, your past abandonment, your past frustrations, your past failures, right? Facts stay the same. Truth can evolve. It can change. It can be altered, right? Um, Facts can challenge a story. Truth can rewrite a story. All right. So understanding that whatever story you're telling yourself regarding this particular situation, taking the time to separate the facts from your truths can make all the difference in whether you are going to take a certain step or take a certain action or feel a certain way. Okay. So I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't, if you have questions, please drop them in the comments. I am more than happy to answer them for you. I do have a few questions that you can ask yourself. This feels like therapy in a good way. Good. Hi, Grayson. Welcome in. Okay, so I have a few questions here that you can take away from this portion, because I know that this is a lot to kind of digest between fact and truth, but it is critical for understanding not just imposter syndrome, but just core beliefs and why you think a certain way about a particular situation or a particular thing. But a few things that you can ask yourself when it comes to fact versus truth is, what evidence supports this, right? What evidence actually supports this particular situation? So like I gave the example earlier where you started a new job, the job has is a step up from what you last have done or have done in your previous job. Some of the job duties are the same. Some of the job duties are a little bit more advanced. Okay, you tell yourself that either the fact would be these are all of the things, these are the job duties and responsibilities. The truth would be I'm not ready for this, right? That could be one of your truths. Another truth could be I don't belong here. I got this job out of luck. These are all of the truths that you may be telling yourself, right? And it may be true to you internally, but it doesn't necessarily match the fact, right? So with that, what evidence supports this? Okay. What evidence contradicts this thought? Is this truth from the present, or is this truth from my past? Okay. And then what would be true if I wasn't afraid? Okay. I'll repeat myself. It's okay. So when it comes to the thought or the core belief, what evidence supports this? Okay. What evidence contradicts it? Is this truth from the present or from the past? And what would be true if I wasn't afraid? Okay. If I didn't have fear, if I didn't have limits. Hi, Jamie. Welcome in. If I didn't have fear, if I didn't have limits, okay, what would be true if I wasn't afraid? Okay. You're welcome. And then when it comes to the next section, that was number 4. So challenge and change the story's narrative. And then lastly, number 5, before we go into affirmations, take up space and reaffirm. Take up space and reaffirm. Okay. So number 1 was name the story that is showing up. Number 2, understand the origin of the story. Number 3, show yourself self-compassion. Number 4, challenge and change the story's narrative. Number 5, take up space and reaffirm. Okay. So reframing your self-talk. We talk about reframing a lot, right? I know that y'all probably tired of me talking about reframing, but reframing is really what we have to do with a lot of these thought patterns that we have. So I have a few examples. So instead of saying I don't belong, you can maybe try I'm learning and that's enough. Instead of saying I should know everything, you can try I'm here to grow, right? Any job that you get, any position that you get, you're meant to learn in that position. You're not necessarily, even if you're at the highest position, there's CEOs that are at the top of their companies that are still learning in that role, right? So just understanding that you don't have to know everything when it comes to a particular role or when it comes to life in general. This is all a human experience, and just being in a human experience is automatically a learning experience. Okay. Um, no problem. No problem. You'll be able to watch the replay. What was your question? We're talking about imposter syndrome, overcoming imposter syndrome. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so that was number 5. Take up space and reaffirm. All right, so those are the 5 steps to overcoming imposter syndrome. I'm going to leave you guys with affirmations to take away. I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comments if this is helpful so far. I have 7 affirmations that I'm going to give you. Again, like I said, feel free to journal these down. Feel free to, if you want to do sticky notes, do those. If you're going to just record yourself, repeating them back to repeating them back to yourself, you can do that. And then again, this is on a replay, so you'll be able to watch it back. But the first affirmation is, let me make sure I have everything up here. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Number 1 is, I deserve to be here, and my presence has purpose. I deserve to be here, and my presence has purpose. I'll say that again. I deserve to be here, and my presence has purpose. This is just reaffirming that wherever you are aligned and wherever you land is where you're supposed to be. Okay? Okay, awesome. See you soon. Have a good night. So it's just to reaffirm and to reassure yourself that you deserve to be where you are. They hired you because they felt like you were a great fit. Okay. They gave you the promotion because they felt like you were ready for that upgrade. Okay. They, that person is with you or in a relationship with you because they felt like they wanted to get to know you better and to build a relationship with you. All right. A lot of times we fall into these feelings of inferiority or these feelings and emotions of I'm not good enough, not because of the other person or because of the situation, but because of our own insecurities and struggles and past rejections and abandonments. Okay. So understanding that you deserve to be where you are. Okay. And your presence has purpose. Number 2 is, I am growing and stretching my gifts to be more refined. I am growing and stretching my gifts to be more refined. I am growing and stretching my gifts to be more refined. Okay? So understanding that any new learning experience is there, just that is there for you to grow, is there for you to refine, is there for you to align, is there for you to stretch yourself, to challenge yourself, to be a better version of you, or to just strengthen and encourage your gifts, right? The thing that you're operating in. So understanding that and reminding yourself of that can pull you out of that headspace of imposter syndrome. Number 3, my voice, my story, and my perspective matter. My voice, my story, and my perspective matters. My voice, my story, and my perspective matters. And I'll still give the caveat of, yes, your voice, your story, and your perspective matters. That's a great reminder, but it's also a reminder that fact and truth are 2 different things. So your perspective may be off of falsehoods. It may be off of half of the story. It may be off of what you just see and not a whole big picture of what's actually there. Okay, so just keep that in mind when thinking about this particular affirmation. But my voice, my story, and my perspective matters. Thank you, Lily. I appreciate you for coming in. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 4, I trust what I know and give myself grace for what I'm still learning. I trust what I know and give myself grace for what I'm still learning. I'll say that one more time. I trust what I know and give myself grace for what I'm still learning. Okay? Reaffirm what you already got up here, right? Reaffirm what you already know and understand, the wisdom that you already have, the discernment that you already have. Trust that. okay? But then also give yourself compassion and know that you are still evolving, you're still learning, you're still growing. And with that comes sometimes small failures, some mistakes, um, and some levels of no confidence or a lower confidence, right? So there's still some pieces of that that's there. This is just a reminder to give yourself grace. It's a reminder to give yourself compassion and to embrace your strengths and work to refine weaknesses. Okay, that was number 4. Number 5, I don't have to shrink to make others comfortable. I don't have to shrink to make others comfortable. I'll say that again. I don't have to shrink to make others comfortable. Sometimes we get in spaces where, because we're intimidated or we feel intimidation in those spaces, we begin to just kind of shrink and just not be ourselves, not be our authentic selves, because we feel like us being ourselves are going to make others uncomfortable for whatever reason. So we therefore kind of just shrink ourselves in those moments. So this is a reminder that I don't have to shrink, right? I can show up authentically. I can show up as myself. I can show up and take up space. And other people's comfortability with that is not my issue. Okay? That's just a reminder. Hi, Aaron. So do I. It's fine. I don't know if that's because of what we're talking about or if it's just, I don't know what the comment was for, but so do I. No problem. That was number 5, right? Yes, that was number 5. Yes, you can listen to the playback. Absolutely. Thank you. So I don't have to shrink to make others comfortable. That was number 5. Number 6, I step into rooms as my whole self, confident and capable. I step into rooms as my whole self, confident and capable. I'll say that again. I step into rooms as my whole self, confident and capable. Okay? So go into rooms as if you're supposed to be there. Many times we walk into rooms and we walk in shrunk, right? We walk in with fear, and we allow that fear to show up on the outside. You can feel the fear and still walk in confident. You can feel the fear and still be capable. Okay, so I step into rooms as my whole self, confident and capable. It's just a reminder to show up as if you were supposed to be there. Okay. No, we're not. We're talking about imposter syndrome. That's what we're talking about. Thank you, Music 93. So that was number 6. I step into rooms as my whole self, confident and capable. Number 7, which is the last one, I am safe to shine in my fullness and align myself in purpose. I am safe to shine in my fullness and align myself in purpose. I am safe to shine in my fullness and align myself in purpose. Okay? So understanding that there is safety in confidence. Okay? There is safety in reframing what that safety would look like. Okay, and sometimes our safety can show up as being shrunk, right? You can have safety in the opposite direction in confidence, right? And many times that safety comes when we align ourselves with purpose. Okay, imposter syndrome may also show up in spaces because we know internally that this isn't what we want. This isn't where we want to be. And because we're in a space that we don't want to be, it shows up as imposter syndrome because we know that we should be more aligned over here, but for whatever reason, we're still here. And then we have the internal conflict of, I'm here, but I know I want to be over here. And there's this back and forth and this tug and pull where we now have this continuous frustration and burnout with wherever we are because we know we're supposed to be over here. Okay. So once you align yourself with purpose, that brings up confidence. And then that imposter syndrome may start to dwindle away because now we're in a space that we're aligned with. Okay. So I hope this was helpful, y'all. I'll go back to the top for affirmations. Number 1 was I deserve to be here and my presence has purpose. Number 2 is I'm growing and stretching my gifts to be more refined. Number 3, my voice, my story, and my perspective matter. Number 4, I trust what I know and give myself grace for what I'm still learning. Number 5, I don't have to shrink to make others comfortable. Number 6, I step into rooms as my whole self, confident and capable. And number 7, I am safe to shine in my fullness and align myself in purpose. Okay? I hope this was helpful. Thank you all for joining today. Thank you, Music 93, for being my beautiful and wonderful moderator because I needed it. I appreciate you. That's my sister, y'all. Thank you. And thank you, Kevs. I appreciate that. So this live is every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Like I said, next week, I'm not quite sure yet if we'll have a live, but if we do not, I will just post the poll for the next live in December. And make sure to look out for that and vote for the topics that we'll be talking about in December. You should have some more meditations. So I did post the most recent meditation was from last week's live on loneliness. So you should have got that. Was that today? My days is kind of running together, y'all. I think I posted that this morning. So you should have that this morning. And then there was another meditation that I posted on Friday on, it was a meditation for marginalized groups. So make sure to check that out. And if you didn't see from last week, there was another video on affirm and stretch. It's my first affirm and stretching video. So check that out if you want to do some movement with your affirmations. That is there and available. Make sure I'm not missing anything. If you haven't already, go to haveninspired.com and sign up for the newsletter. You get a newsletter every week with updates on our topics and new things that we're doing. And yes, I do events, y'all. So if you are at your job or anything with any corporate events, any wellness events that your job is doing, and they're looking for someone to come in and speak, I do those events as well. I've done meditation and journaling classes at different corporate events. I've done keynotes. I've done many different things. So make sure to reach out if you have any questions about events. My email is at info@haveninspired.com. And am I missing anything? I don't think so. I think that's everything. Y'all have a great rest of your night. I appreciate you all for joining, and hopefully I'll see y'all all next week. I'll post and let y'all know. Bye.